In the fall of 2002, Clara Mitchell, a mother, nurse, and beloved community volunteer, vanished from her small hometown in rural Oregon. She left behind a locked house, a pot of tea still warm on the stove, and a trail of unanswered questions. This is the story of Clara Mitchell and the night she disappeared into the pines. Clara was 39 years old, with a quick smile and the kind of presence that made people feel at ease. She lived with her teenage son, Jamie, in a modest two-story home on Pine Hollow Road. She worked at Steady Mary's Hospital, often pulling long shifts in the emergency room. When she wasn't working, she was baking cookies for school fundraisers, volunteering at the library, or walking the wooded trails behind her house. But according to some friends, Clara's life wasn't as perfect as it looked. Her marriage had ended 2 years earlier, after what was described as a sudden and ugly split. There were whispers that she'd been receiving late-night phone calls, and that she'd confided to one friend that she felt someone was watching her. October 3, 2002, Clara's day began. Normally a shift at the hospital, lunch with a coworker, and an afternoon run to the grocery store. Receipts confirmed she bought bread, milk, and tea. Jamie later told police that when he came home from football practice at 6:30 p.m., his mother was in the kitchen making soup. They ate together, talked about his upcoming game, and watched part of a TV show before Jamie went upstairs to do homework. Around 8:15 p.m., Clara received a phone call. Jamie remembered she stepped outside to take it, pacing along the porch. When she came back in, she told him she needed to meet someone but didn't say who. At 8:30 p.m., she grabbed her sweater and keys and left the house. That was the last time Jamie saw his mother. The next morning, Clara's car, a silver Honda Civic, was found parked on a narrow dirt path off Old Timber Road, less than 2 miles from her home. The driver's side door was closed but unlocked. Inside were her purse, wallet, and cell phone. There was no sign of a struggle, no footprints leading away from the car, only pine needles scattered across the seat, as if the door had been open for a while. Search dogs were brought in, and they caught Clara's scent, but only for about 40 yards, where it ended abruptly in the middle of the trail. Some investigators believed she'd been picked up by another vehicle. Others wondered if she'd walked deeper into the woods and simply vanished. When detectives pulled Clara's phone records, they found several calls to an unlisted number in the weeks before her disappearance, all placed late at night. That number was traced to a man named Victor Hale, a reclusive handyman who lived in a cabin about 5 miles from Pine Hollow Road. Hale admitted he knew Clara in passing, but claimed they'd only spoken about home repairs. When asked why they talked late at night, he said she just called sometimes to chat. But neighbors told a different story, that Hale had been seen parked outside Clara's house more than once, just sitting in his truck watching. For the next week, volunteers, police, and even the National Guard scoured the pine forest. Helicopters hovered overhead. Search teams worked in grids, marking off every section. They found Clara's scarf snagged on a branch near a small clearing. Not far from it, they found a thermos, the same one she often took on her walks. Both items tested negative for blood or other DNA. Theories flew. Had she met someone in the woods? Was she lured out there? Or did she run into danger by chance? Weeks turned into months. No body, no clear suspect, and no closure. Jamie moved in with relatives. Hale left town quietly in 2003, reportedly relocating to Idaho. He was never charged. Over the years, there were occasional sightings, a woman matching Clara's description in a diner in Spokane, another in a bus station in Montana, but none were confirmed. The case became one of those small-town mysteries that people still talk about in hushed voices. Everyone had their theory, but no one had the truth. In 2019, Jamie, now an adult, returned to his childhood home to prepare it for sale. While cleaning the attic, he found a small locked box pushed into a corner. Inside were letters, some dated months before Clara vanished. They were from Victor Hale. The tone shifted over time from friendly to possessive, and finally to threatening. One letter read, "You can't hide from me. Not here. Not anywhere." The discovery reignited interest in the case, but with Hale long gone and no physical evidence linking him to her disappearance, it remained unsolved. Somewhere out there, Clara Mitchell's story still waits for an ending. Maybe she met someone in the pines that night. Maybe she planned to leave, and something went wrong. Or maybe the answers lie with someone who's kept a terrible secret for more than 20 years. Until then, all that remains is an empty house, a trail through the pines, and the question, what really happened to Clara Mitchell?